Welcome to Albion TV presents the AO Daily Show, your source of real news in an unreal world, keeping you up to date on the latest news, events, and the great community of Albion Online. Today is Sunday, the 18th of April, 2021. I am your host, the Shozen One, and joining me today to, I guess, have some small talk before we play an interview and then give away gold would be Bogul, my co-host. How you doing today, Bogul? And he's muted. That's
Ha!
pretty
There
good
you
for
go.
everyone.
Found it,
Now
guys.
you
Found the
know what.
button. Hello. I'm having a day, guys. I'm having a day. Oh my god. But that should all be better soon. We do have this interview that we recorded a while back, actually, like a week or so ago, right?
Yeah,
Almost?
almost 2 weeks ago now, we had to have an interview in case one of my interviews falls through, and I was hoping to interview the great Logic.
That's what we announced at least earlier in the week. Yeah.
That was the plan. Though one day I wasn't able to make it, the next day he wasn't able to make it, and the next thing you know, I I need to put up another interview. So thankfully, a couple of weeks ago, we got to talk to Johannes, the newest 3D artist in Albion. He's been working there since what, about November, Bo?
He'll tell us in the interview. Yeah.
Okay, so he'll tell us in the interview. I was going to say he tells us in the interview his journey to do so. And it's, we had a really great conversation with him, and I hope to talk to him again soon. But Bogle, there's been a lot of other news going around in the world of Albion in the last few days, and I want to chat about that real quick with you.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, what do you want to say? There's this Sun thing that's going on with the season rankings. I know that, but
Yeah.
what do you mean there?
Well, what else is going on? Have you not been paying attention? Didn't you hear that Blue Army got robbed of quite a substantial amount of silver? I mean,
Yeah,
you were on the
but
air when we discussed this the other day.
I know, but they made this whole theater about it, and I think we wanted to talk about that drama tomorrow on the community show.
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
Okay, okay,
So it's a long story tomorrow about that, but I thought we would, just hype it up a little bit.
sure, okay, okay.
So 20 billion stolen,
Hmm.
fundraiser ensues, shenanigans all along the way. Maybe Blue Army actually back and fighting once again.
How times change. Only a little robbery, and everybody's back in the game. Wow, wow. At least
Well,
playing for their team, I guess. Yeah.
well, I always say like if your guild has to endure some difficulty, some adversity, something bad happens to it, something that makes them feel like they are attacked. Oftentimes you'll see the average line member rally, come
Mhm.
together. Maybe it'll even rouse one of the officers out of a slumber, maybe even the guild leader out of a slumber into actual action to get things done and bring the ire out, especially in a war game where you have to make your own content. Might give them a target, might give them something to do. And I hear that they now have a goal. So we will talk about that tomorrow.
And all the details. Yeah, we do have a little bit of information there and a little bit of story time, as we always do on Community Mondays, maybe even some fan art. So, yeah, tune in for that tomorrow, 19 UTC. We will also have our ZVZ show tomorrow. And after the show today, there's one more announcement before we can get to the interview, which is that when is that planned? 21 UTC, Shozen?
21 UTC, we will be doing an hour of Hellgate. So we're
Oh.
going to watch a Hellgate spotlight show is what we call it, when we just watch the best Hellgates that we can find. Tazik and Robin will be joining me to go over the fights. We're going to try to get Tazik to draw on the screen like he's John Madden. It's going to be entertaining. I'm really looking
Nice,
forward to
nice,
it.
nice, nice. All right.
All right.
And any words to introduce Johannes then, or are we just going with one of the newest artists at
Well,
Sandbox Interactive?
I guess we could say that I say his name wrong twice in a row.
Oh,
Yeah, and I screwed that up. I get it right by the end of the interview, which I was proud of when I listened back, but there's nothing I can do about what's already on the film.
Still, it's a cool dude. We had fun talking to him, I think, and that
Yeah, we did, and I learned a few things. Bogul, I had no idea that there was a place in Italy where people spoke German.
the more you know, the more you know.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, I learned something. I want to learn more about it. I want to like Google it or something.
Thank you again, Johannes, for taking the time. And yeah, everybody, let's listen to the interview, enjoy it, and keep an eye on Twitch chat for some gold raffles, exclamation mark raffle in Twitch chat for your chance to win a few gold codes tonight. All right, let's go.
Welcome to the Albion TV interview series. I am the Shozen one, and Bogul and I are joined today by Albion's newest 3D environmental artist, Johannes. And we're going to talk about how he got involved with video games and specifically how he came to SBI and what he's been doing since he's arrived. So, Johannes, let's, I guess, go with an introduction. Why don't you introduce yourself a little bit and tell us where you came from?
Yeah, hi. I'm Johannes. I'm, like Shozen already said, I'm a junior 3D environment artist at Sandbox. I've been working there since November. Yeah, I'm Italian, but I live in Berlin, where SBI's office is. Thank you for having me, first of all. It's cool. I haven't really done something like this, so this is really amazing. Yeah, where I came from. So I don't know where to start. Back in, I don't know, this sounds kind of like, back in Italy. Back in Italy, back home, I was first went to a art school. So there was always, kind of an interest in art, but I never really, I don't know, the option to do art for video games. I only really realized when I was done with school, or that, that was an option. So after school I was like, hey, okay, what could I do, what could be interesting? So I was looking like, oh yeah, maybe video games. I really enjoy playing video games. Maybe I could do something in that direction. And I found so for a little bit of context, I am Italian, but my native language is German because I grew up in a region where people speak German in Italy. So it was kind of like looking, okay, what could I do? In which way could I, get involved into video game art? And I found a school in Berlin that, teaches specifically stuff about video games. They have like different courses, digital art, programming, production, and game design. And I applied to that school, and I went to Berlin for 2 years, lived there, went to that school. It's called the Games Academy. We made every semester, we made some video games, some small projects. And that's how I got to know a lot of people, and also people who now work at SBI. So like actually friends of mine work also at the company before me, which was also a reason, how I kind of, I mean, not got into the company, but I got to know the company a little bit better beforehand. But then the thing happened that is
The
on
thing,
everybody's
yeah,
mind.
the
thing,
code, yeah,
thing.
yes.
Yeah. It was I finished school in 2019, and I went home for a bit, for a couple of months, and I wanted to go back to Berlin in early 2020, which then it took a bit longer. So I was like, okay, in April I'm gonna move back to Berlin. Didn't happen. Understandably. So I had to kind of wait out this first wave of COVID to actually move to Berlin. And in the summer, in June actually, I definitely moved to Berlin and started applying to some different companies here in Berlin, because I thought, I have friends in Berlin. I know people here because of the 2 years that I went to school here. it would make sense to to be in Berlin. There's some other companies that I'm interested in, but they're not in Berlin, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult to get to those places. Like it's obviously not as easy to to move to London or just in general internationally if you want to work at a different company.
Well, Berlin's
So I
nice.
thought
It's
like,
got what, like 4 different, fairly large video game companies right in the city, and a
no,
number of
sure,
smaller
sure.
ones too. So it's a good option to start with.
Of course, yeah, yeah. No, but it was just if you like I don't know if you wanted to work for for like some like the giant companies like I don't know EA or Ubisoft or uh, Blizzard. Ubisoft has one office here, I think, yeah, in Berlin, but others don't. But for me, it just made sense to go to Berlin, back to Berlin, and to apply here for some jobs instead of applying for jobs and then moving, because I thought that might be a little bit more difficult.
Mhm.
So I wanted to be here and then check out which companies could be interesting to apply to. And Sandbox was actually, out of the companies here in Berlin, was actually the one that I was genuinely interested the most, for the reason that, first of all, like I said before, some friends of mine already worked at the company. So I was like, hey, cool, I already know people. And also, I'm a big fan of stylized art, or a stylized art style, and Albion obviously has a very stylized cartoony art style. So I was like, okay, that's great, because usually when when you're looking for games with more stylized art, there's usually a bit more. They're usually very mobile games. Now, obviously, technically, Albion in the future is gonna be accessible on mobile too. Wait, actually, is that?
Yeah. Yeah, we actually
Is
started
that
on
this?
mobile. If we go
Okay, yeah,
back
no,
into
no.
history down to, I think it was
Okay, okay,
2015,
okay.
it was
So
a
I
tablet.
was just okay. So I was just, in case cut that out. But I was just thinking that that's not NDA. That
No,
people know that, right?
it's well known. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I was
Now, if you
was
give
a
the
bit worried.
date
That's
when
what I
it's
was like.
coming out, that would be NDA. You can't give the date.
No. I'm just saying. Okay, everything's good.
Yeah, we're all good. So you're talking about the
So
stylized art of
again,
Albion, and
yeah,
how you like that kind of style. You want to work with something that
exactly.
kind of forces you to be creative with the amount of resources you have in front of you.
Exactly. And I was kind of looking at companies, that have games with stylized art, and generally, Sandbox and Albion were like, my kind of my top, what's it called, my top pick, I guess, for a company where I wanted to work, or where I wanted to start out. And because Sandbox is actually the first company that in the gaming industry that that I've been working for, that I'm working at. So yeah, I was asking actually my friend, do you know in any case, is there an open position? Do you know if you're looking for some artists? And I did not expect an immediate answer, because I was obviously checking the website if there's an open an offer and a position, and there wasn't. So I didn't expect to get a yes, but I did get an answer with, yeah, okay, send your portfolio and your application to this email. And it was like, okay, that's a bit, I didn't expect that. Let me just finish up my portfolio, because I'm not done yet. so so I basically had to finish an artwork within 3 days, because after those 3 days, I was going back to Italy to visit my family for a week, and I basically didn't sleep for about 40 hours just to finish this artwork, to get my to get my portfolio done. Don't do that. I don't recommend it. It was just a very unfortunate situation for me, and I wanted to finish this up before I go back, and I don't have my computer with me for like an entire week or 2 weeks. So That was very interesting. And it gets even better because I then get an answer next week or the week after, where in fact I was out in Berlin with, hi, do you have time to meet this week, maybe on Thursday? Just, to have, kind of a talk, very informal. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not in Berlin right now. Can we do it next week? And she was I was talking to my lead artist Maria, and she was like, "Oh no, sorry, next week I'm on vacation, but in August, if you want, we can do it in August." And I was like, "Okay, that's perfect, thank you." So in August, no, it was actually in the beginning of September. I had my first kind of informal interview, just to talk a little bit with each other, so that they get to know me, so that I get to know a little bit of the company, how they work, and so on. And yeah, she gave me feedback for my artwork, which I specifically made for SBI. I was like, I looked up some some reference art for Albion, or that was made for Albion, and I kind of mixed together some stuff and created something that I thought would be could be put into Albion, to the game. And I got some feedback on that, and just general again talk a little bit. And then I had to wait for a bit longer for for an answer, for a second interview, because I kind of was the first one who applied for this position, because I did it before they actually released the position offer on their website. So I had to wait a little bit for other applicants to apply and to send in their stuff. And then in the beginning of October, I had my second interview with the art director. And at the end of, which was via internet, via Skype, which wasn't here, in the office, which for some reason also happened to be at around the time where I wasn't in Berlin. So I also had to do it with my laptop at home back in Italy. For some reason, they always manage to, catch me off guard in a moment where I'm not around.
I like this. It sounds very SBI to me. It's all familiar on my end.
It was very, again, in the end, it paid off. Everything went well. I got the job, because otherwise I wouldn't be here. But it was it was a bit awkward in the moment. So okay. And then I had the final interview was with Robin, with the CEO. And then in the beginning of November, on the 9th, I think, 9th of November, I started working there as a junior 3D environment artist.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad to have you. It seems like that was quite the adventure to get hired. So, if I get this right, it took you a few months there to get in the door, and from like April to November. That's quite a while.
Well, I mean, my application I sent in June.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
It just before I moved in at the beginning of June. No, sorry. I moved in June. I wanted to move in April, but I couldn't because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
In June, I then moved because the borders were open again in Europe. In July, I sent in my application. It was what's it called? A speculative application, basically. I wasn't, there wasn't an open offer.
Yeah, it's that email at the bottom of the page that says, if you would like to apply to any other job, please send us an email.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it was kind of, yeah. If you're interested, you can always write it like that. Yeah, exactly. And because, again, I was basically the first one who sent in my application, it took longer because obviously they had to check some other people too, because they obviously wanted to have a couple of different people to choose from.
Well, I'm glad they chose you. So far, I've really enjoyed our conversation. So it seems like they picked the right guy for sure. When you got here in November, what did you start working on? What projects did they set you up on? Because I know by then we were in the middle of getting Call to Arms ready.
It was actually a little bit before that. We were kind of we were done with Roads of Avalon, so there was a little bit of a not a downtime that was already over, but we were not yet, at least the art department wasn't yet super into the call to arms. As far as I know, the code department was absolutely, and the game designers too. But the art department still had a little bit of time to do some other stuff. So the first things I worked on were some of the adventure challenge, the furniture items that you could win for the adventure challenges, for January and February actually. So I did, I don't know, I did the, the actual first thing I did was a pile of snowballs that you could win for these furniture items, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay, we liked your art. Thank you for drawing your buildings. Now, would you mind making us a pile of snowballs?
No, I mean that's very understandable. Obviously, you're not gonna, you're not gonna take a junior artist and that just started working at the company and like put him at like building the most amazing asset ever. Obviously, you're gonna start out with smaller stuff. It was very nice to start working on something pretty easy because I kind of had to switch, the programs I work with, the 3D programs. At home, I usually always worked with Blender, which is a free 3D software. And at the company, I had to switch to Maya, which is, a bit more professional one, I guess. And so it was kind of nice to, to being able to adjust to the new program while working on something a bit more easy. But again, the first things I did were those adventure challenge assets, furniture items for January and February. And then I started to work on Hellgates and animated vegetation.
Well, thank you for both the Hellgates and the animated vegetation. Bogul and I believe the first thing we did when Call to Arms released was find a nice piece of grass and lie down in it and just observe the world in a nice, calm state until somebody came along and chopped down our trees.
Yeah, there was, yeah. Like, I mean, just to be clear, I didn't do the entire animated vegetation by myself.
No,
I
I
had
don't think. No, that's not a one-person job.
no. We had a technical artist, who wrote the entire, the shaders so that everything moves. And I had there were some other artists who did the groundwork. I was just there to to kind of get the last kind of things done so that they're ready.
So you said you worked on the Hellgates, though. That is another thing that the audience really enjoys. The new Hellgate art, absolutely gorgeous across the board. The new portal is fantastic. I hear nothing but praise for the portal. The new map layouts are fantastic. The color scheme is slightly different than our previous one. For the longest time, we had a red haze over everything, and everybody was super happy when that went away. But now there's so many more new things in the Hellgates, from new mobs to the way the lava raises. What part of the Hellgates did you work on? What was the, because this seems like the big thing that you got to work on, is the Hellgates here. This is something that everybody's going to really notice. What part of the Hellgates did you work on?
So I specifically worked on, I created some blocker assets, some rocks and stuff that the level designers could then place, in the level to kind of, create their layout. I think there was a wall. I created a wall. I created a big and a small rock, and I created a railing for these stairs. Like there's some stairs, and they used an asset that I made as railings. And I also worked on the lava that basically when the lava circle gets smaller
Mm-hmm.
and everything gets covered in lava, the borders of the levels, there's some lava faults that spawn in. There's some lava that runs down the stairs. Those are some meshes, some 3D geometry that I made too. So that's like the two main things I worked on. Yeah, in Hellgates. Portal is absolutely amazing, but I didn't touch that. That was our lead environment artist, Maria.
Well, I gotta tell you, the lava is very important. It's one of those aspects that might not get noticed, like the little things in the background, like you said, the lava running down the stairs and stuff like that. They might not notice that right away, but if it wasn't there, oh, they would notice. Trust me. It's you
Yeah, I
have
could
to have
imagine.
the little things, like you said you did railings, and I was like, yeah, you know who could have used you? Star Wars. Star Wars could have used some railings. It, there's no railings in Star Wars. It's a travesty of the future when you just fall off of these large planks that
Yeah.
go everywhere. But it's a good story of how so many little things have to get done when you make these new assets, these new levels and new types of game worlds. You need all the little things made. If you don't have, like you said, uh, blockers like rocks and walls and stuff for the design team to put into place, that becomes a situation where what we do have becomes redundant because you see the same pieces all the time. So you need someone to come in and make more assets so you can spread those around and, make things look a little bit more organic, if you will. So yeah, there's so much that needs to get done when you add new materials to the game, new levels, new assets to the game. You have to have so many little things to make it look correct, and that's kind of cool to hear that you get placed in immediately and start working on what honestly the Hellgates are a very important part of Call to Arms.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not even stuff like adding new things. It's also reworking old stuff. Albion is it's at this point kind of. I mean, it's not an old game, but it's been around for some time, and you kind of have assets in the game. You have buildings and other rocks in the game that are you know from a couple of years ago, and
2014, 2015.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
and
I
and
know.
and
I know.
and in some occasions you can tell. So for example, it's tiny stuff, but for example, the platforms in the Hellgate, on the borders you kind of have some small rocks sticking out, and to kind of signalize when the lava spawns in that this is the border. This is where you can't go. You might, obviously, in the best case, you're not going to stay too long in the lava because you die, but in case you do have to walk around in the lava a little bit, you immediately recognize that this is a border because there's some very visually strong rocks, black rocks, kind of around these borders, so you don't accidentally run into a place where you can't really get out anymore. These little rocks on the borders, we made them look better. It's tiny stuff that maybe you don't even realize when playing the game, but it's still some small stuff that still makes a lot of impact, because before they were just kind of square and they were
Mhm.
just there, and we completely reworked them that they look better, that they're a bit more not as flat as they were before, but a bit more like actual rocks, and that they fit into the environment a bit more, that they're not just these normal chunky rocks, but like they're a bit more spiky like the rest of the environment. And yeah, it's this kind of rework that was a big focus just in general, not just adding new stuff, but really reworking the old stuff that we already had to elevate the art to a bit more up to date version.
Bring it in line
Or
with
to
the more current state of Albion. You're right. Like
exactly, yeah,
the 2015 Albion was designed to work on tablets of 2015. The
yeah,
2021 Albion is now designed to work primarily on the PC, and now we're transitioning back over to mobile with a summer release coming up, for the mobile stores. And it still has to, like you said, it has to stay stylized so that it can still run on these less powerful systems. But
yeah.
those less powerful systems are way more powerful than they were 6 years ago, 7 years ago. And so
Absolutely. And
you can do
I mean,
more.
not only that, it's also just in general, I mean, I can't talk for for the lead artist or for the artists that have been working here for, for years, but, you still I'm sure that also stuff that they have done in the past, that they're looking at it now and they're like, well, maybe we could make this a little bit better. Also, the team has been growing since 2017, so obviously there's more people to do more, not to do more stuff, but to do better stuff. And while maybe a couple of years back they had to cut maybe some quality for in order to get everything out on time.
Mhm.
Now there's more people in the office, more artists, more coders, more employees in general, that you can focus a bit more on quality instead of just kind of having to rush everything.
Just get everything done in time to get it out for like the next beta or alpha release, just so that people
Yeah,
can see something. Oftentimes, I hear about people talking about placeholders, and you'll make a placeholder and it'll end up staying there on release, and it'll be that thing that you see every time that the average player
yeah,
doesn't even notice, but you're like, oh, that placeholder art, I really wish I could have gotten rid of it
absolutely.
3 years ago.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly the point. You see stuff. I mean, I obviously don't know, what was a placeholder and whatnot, because again, I've been just here for, a couple of months. But I hear it, my lead artist, like it happens relatively frequently that she's like, that's actually something that we wanted to, replace years ago, but we never had the time or the manpower to do it. So that's obviously a thing, yeah.
And it sounds like recently in one of the public releases, they said that they're going to be working on a lot of the royals and reworking a lot of the older art assets that are in the royal zones. And that sounds like something you'll be working on in the near future. Can you talk about that at all? About how you'll be helping to beautify the old world?
Not really, because at the moment I'm actually not yet involved into this kind of rework thing. I'm currently I can't talk about that. What I'm currently working on, I'm currently working on some signs that will be placed in the cities, because there's going to be a couple of UI changes. And basically, I'm working on those signs that they look exactly like the UI icons. And you're going to see those in the cities, in Caroleon and Bridgewatch and so on, next to the NPCs, like, for example, next to the repair shop.
Well, that's really cool. Like making everything uniform from the UI to the in-game signs. That's, it's a small thing, but those are the things that help immerse you in the game. And I like hearing that. That's
I gotta jump in here and ask a very important question. What's the green city called?
I'm sorry?
The green city with, the boar and that kind of style, the forest city?
Oh, I know. I think I know what you're getting at. um, I don't know how to pronounce that name. I would say it's called Limhurst. I genuinely avoided saying that name because I knew that there's different people who pronounce it differently. I recently checked into one of your streams and I heard Shozen call it Limehurst.
uh-huh.
And I was like, is it pronounced Limehurst? Because I always thought it's called Limhurst. So I'm like, oh God,
I'm
please
just
don't
trying to back
crucify
up.
me.
I'm just trying to back up the CEO, man. I'm just trying to back up the CEO here. He calls it Limehurst. I call it Limehurst.
Okay.
Most-
I can imagine next week I'm gonna, Robin's gonna call me, hey, Johannes, we need to talk.
No,
I
most
mean,
of the
I
player
had to
base.
ask it, but
Yeah.
it's most of the Chosen said it. Most of the player base actually call it Limhurst.
Most of them call it Limehurst. See, Bogul has said it. It's official. Limehurst.
Maybe that has something to do with your language background. Maybe
Maybe, I
Germans
don't
tend
know.
to call it lime, and others tend to call it lim. I don't know. But there's, I think we need official clarification on that.
I don't know,
Um,
like with lime, I would think it's spelled like a lime, like
yes, that's it.
Lime, but I don't know with Y, I don't know how you would spell that.
The reason why this is such a thing is because the Robin Henkes called it Limehurst in one of the dev talks, and everybody's like, "What?"
But I've been calling it Limehurst since it first appeared on the map, Bogul.
Still, there's also a video on YouTube that calls the Black Zone city Carleon.
Carleon.
There's
Well,
opinions.
Yeah, all the different cities, we've definitely had some naming issues, especially when I call it Bridge Lock.
what?
There is no Bridge
Okay.
Lock. There's no Bridge
Okay.
Lock. There is none. But I have definitely referred to Bridge Watch as Bridge Lock on at least 4 or 5 occasions.
Unintentionally.
Yeah, unintentionally, absolutely.
Okay.
I will go with Bridge Watch as the official name.
Okay.
But yeah, that. What else would you like to go over before we let you go? Because you've really given us quite a bit here for this interview, and I would like to give you an opportunity to share anything else you have. I think the actual signs in the cities is going to be very cool, to be honest. Bogul and I have talked about some of that kind of thing in the past. Like there's a little signpost next to the buildings and stuff, and we would like to see them, updated a bit. But is there anything else
Yes,
you'd like to share?
With the signs, in the the tier buildings. What are they called? Are they called tier buildings? In the starter town, for example, there's these small buildings where you can repair stuff. They all have some signs on them. We basically wanted to create also these kind of signs for the cities, because in the big cities those were not present, because those kind of tier buildings, except for Callion, they weren't in the other cities. But other than that, again, I'm not I'm not yet working on the new stuff except for those signs, so I can't really tell you. I mean, even if I would be working on those, I don't think I could tell you anything about it. But yeah, I don't know. There's nothing specific.
Well, then I guess I'll just say thank you very much for joining us today for this interview. I've really enjoyed it, and I think it's important for people to realize how much work goes into all of these updates. There's so many different people at so many different levels who have to do all sorts of little things so that the big things look good, because you have to do everything. There's 1,000 things that have to get done so that we can say, yep, we updated Hellgates. That sounds like one thing, but along the way, so much gets updated at every single step. So thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to talking to you later when you are no longer a junior 3D environmental designer, but a full-on 3D environmental designer.
Yeah, it would be cool, like, some years later, how your perspective shifted,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Do you still like the job? Stuff
Hey,
like that, I don't know.
I've been doing this now for going on 4 years that I've been working here at SBI, and every year I become more impressed with the work that they do. And I thoroughly enjoy working for this company, and I hope that you do too, and that in 4 years, you'll find it just as rewarding as I do, and be like, yeah, this has been a great time here at SBI, and look how much we have grown, and that we continue to grow as much as we have in the last 4 years for the next 4 years.
I mean, it's already been a very great time, this couple of months, this time that I've been here. Amazing co-workers, and so I'm already very happy, and yeah, I hope it's just getting better from here on. Maybe if the situation in the world gets a little better, it's just general stuff will be better.
Yeah, I
Hopefully.
certainly hope so, because I would love to head out to Berlin sometime this summer and have a beer with you and enjoy the lovely city of Berlin and get to meet everybody. It's been a very long time that I've worked here and still haven't gotten to shake hands with anybody except for people who used to work at the company. When I run into them at PAX every couple of years.
Yeah, me neither. Actually, I haven't met almost any. I've met the art team, but that's about it.
Oh, because everybody's still working at home.
Yeah, of course, everybody's at home. I've been at home for the last 2 weeks too, and so.
Well, hopefully you'll get to meet them before I do. I'll put it that way. I hope you get to meet
Yeah.
them before I do. All right. Well, thank you very much, Johannes. It was a great interview. I really enjoyed it, and thank you very much for your time. And I look forward to doing a follow-up at some point.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was great.
Yeah, also from my side, thanks for your time. Thanks for hopping on, and good to have you around, man.
Of course.
Yeah, guys, that's it for the interview. I'll keep the last fight here in the background running for just a minute. And then we will probably be back with the Hellgate show very, very soon. But that last match here and the Corrupted is just too interesting to just go out. So have a good night, guys. And we will be back in about 20 minutes. I don't know if Shows is still here. I think he left. Getting ready for the next show with Tazek and Robin. So see you in a bit.